My name is Chil-Yong Kang. I'm professor of virology in the Department of Microbiology and Immunology, Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry at the Western University. HIV research started the late 80s and the beginning of 90s. A lot of people got onto HIV and AIDS research but did not solve the problems in hand. Late 90s, the group of scientists throughout the world working on the development of the vaccine which can prevent HIV infection, and didn't come up with any solution for preventive vaccine. We started in early 2000 and we've been working since. Since then, there have been 4 different human clinical trials. Unfortunately, none of them have been successful. We have developed our own strategy to make a vaccine against HIV to prevent HIV infection. And this vaccine now is in clinical trials. Now, the art is antiretroviral therapy using the cocktail therapy. These are 3 different drugs that can prevent the virus replication or virus reproduction in virus-infected individuals, so that the virus load in the blood is reduced down to the almost threshold. They can survive nowadays long life and almost a near normal life, those HIV-infected individuals, okay, with antiviral therapy. But that's not a permanent cure. As soon as they stop taking those medications, boom, the virus production will resume. In 1981 was one patient was recorded and unknown etiology of the immunodeficiency, and that was the first case.
Patient 0 is the name Dr. Dritz and the medical detectives used to describe this man, the airline steward, to protect his identity. Randy Schultz reveals that he was a French-Canadian named Gaetan Dugas, patient 0. One of the first cases of AIDS, the first person identified as a major transmitter of the disease.
Because of the prevalence of HIV among MSM was so high compared to other groups of people, and they thought that this is a gay disease, gay men's disease. Now, when you look at the HIV infection, prevalence of HIV infection in sub-Saharan Africa, is actually commercial sex workers in female population has a high rate of infection.
At first, only gays and IV drug users were being killed by AIDS. But now we know every one of us could be devastated by it.
HIV infected so far over 70 million people. 36 million people have died since 1981. I wish to make some kind of contribution for the human health, to make a vaccine that can prevent the epidemics of HIV and AIDS. And that's why I'm working on this project. I like to see that infection-free world, okay? And people are suffering from this kind of disease, especially the communicable diseases. Since we have finished our phase 1 human clinical trial, and that tells us that our vaccine is safe in human, and also it triggers immune responses. So next stage is to look at the immune responses. From our phase 1 human clinical trials, we had the results which forecast the success of phase 2. Phase 3 will be the real test to see whether or not vaccinated people will be protected from HIV infection. And I see that we can finish maybe this course of human clinical trials in about 5 or 6 years. North Americans, Europeans, and Australians are infected with the subtype B. We made a prototype vaccine against the subtype B, and so we'll vaccinate people, maybe 3,000 people with a real vaccine, and 3,000 people will be control groups. So we call it double-blind, placebo-control experiment, the vaccination experiments. And so we are planning to do that. People must understand how HIV is transmitted. Now, I was talking about how you can transmit the HIV. The blood, if contaminated blood with HIV is the most effective way to transmit the disease or virus. And for example, if you transfuse HIV positive blood to, say, uninfected individuals, so that's 100% sure that that individual will get HIV. You should not be afraid of having a friend with HIV positive friends, and you should not be afraid of using the same telephone, same iPhone, same computer, or the doorknobs. It's totally fine as long as there's no intimate contact with that individual. One time the one lady came up to me and says that this is a God-given punishment for wrong behavior of humankind. Why are you trying to stop God's plan? And that individual is looking at the one side only, right? No matter what it is, I think we human beings, we always mistake. And so if you make one mistake and get infected with HIV, and do you really have to be punished? We have to accept everyone, no matter what their sexual preference is. We have to make sure that everybody can survive from this kind of epidemics.